this museum was in storage for 4 years and was going to go into an eBay auction kind of a thing. It was just going to be sold piecemeal because it had been moved unwisely out of Delavan, Wisconsin to Milwaukee, and it failed miserably, and they didn't pay the bills. And when Greg DeSanto inherited all this, he also inherited legal issues that had to be resolved, and thankfully we had
saw his way through.
We had some lawyers do free work for us that love the circus and love clowns that resolved the legal issues. Because there were bills that were gone unpaid and things like that because it sat in storage for 4 years in a bankrupt museum, and so he inherited a lot of headaches but it didn't take that long to get out of it because basically the lawyer said, listen, it's a defunct museum. This is history. This is, it was sat in storage and some money is owed to you and things like that, but look at what you're doing. You're suing a museum that doesn't exist, kind of a thing. And it all got resolved. A lot of times, American, you think like the Ringling circus look.
Skeleton and...
But no, this is, we have England, we have Italy, we have South Africa, we have just France.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's
I guess this is international.
International.
That's why it says international.
There's South Africa over there. I worked with a woman from Paris that did foot juggling, and her cousins are this Boswell Wilkie Circus from South Africa. So it's very, very international. But
I guess it's just my understanding that because I don't see all that many.
Oh yeah, it's
that's
there's my clown college class right there. This was filmed in my clown college class in 1985. These are all students that I worked with at clown college.
Oh wow.
That's Frosty Little, Ringling Master Clown. But yeah, we've got these videos that are playing. We've got different clips and different things, but there's a lot of footage because they did a documentary. Kelly Van Cleve, I worked with her for 4 years on Ringling. Doug Boyd went to the Ringling Blue Unit. That's Earl Dakin. He was one of our best stilt walkers at Clown College. And so they did a documentary at my Clown College class, so we have a lot of footage.
So we actually had an entry with the stilt walkers, a whole bunch of them.
That was the Rumpus Circus.
Yeah, Rumpus Circus, yeah. Yeah, I walked stilts on Ringling. I was 15 feet in the air on my stilts on Ringling.
And, how hard is it to learn? How hard is it to learn?
It was the only class at the Ringling Clown College that was not mandatory because of the danger aspect. Short stilts are pretty easy. About the time people get up to like 3 or 4 feet, you've either got it or you don't. And I worked my way up to 10-foot stilts. And that's 10 foot of stilt with me on top. Okay, well then we're going to start over here, you guys. Yep. Can you tell me how many types of clowns there are? I have no idea how to let you know how many types of clowns there are. 3 types of clowns. Very good. That's right. Here is one type of clown. This is called the white-faced clown. And this is, some people call this a costume, but we don't really like to call it a costume because clowns think costumes are for Halloween. So we call this wardrobe. So this is wardrobe from Tammy Parrish. That's Tammy up there. Tammy was actually at the parade today, but she was watching. She wasn't in a parade. And her husband is Tom Parrish, and he was watching too. Now, Tommy and Tammy Parrish were longtime clowns on the Ringling Brothers Barn Bailey Circus. 20 years they were with the circus. And Tom was what's called the boss clown, which means he was in charge of all the clowns. Which being in charge of all the clowns is kind of like trying to herd cats. It doesn't work real well, but Tommy was great at it. So Tammy is a white-faced clown, which is the clown with the all-white face. And the white-faced clown is the smart clown. Yeah, the smart clown. So I'm not the white-faced clown. I'm not very smart. The white-faced clown is the clown that might throw the pie, but a white-faced clown doesn't get hit with the pie. White-faced clown is too smart. The Auguste Clown. Can you say Auguste? Auguste. Auguste is a German word. It means clumsy and silly. And that's kind of like what the Auguste is. Auguste has like a pink face or a flesh color face with a white mouth and white eyes, just like that, see? And the Auguste is the clown that gets hit with the pie or falls down or the pants fall off, things like that. And then there's one more kind of clown. That's called a character clown. And the most famous kind of character clown is a hobo clown or a tramp clown wearing rags. But sometimes a character clown might just be a clown that looks a little bit more like a person, doesn't wear as much makeup. And so all these pictures are of hobo clowns and things over here. And this is my friend Lorena. Lorena was a Ringling clown. She lives in New York now. This is my buddy Johnny Pierce. He does a dog act. But see how little makeup he wears? He just wears kind of a funny mustache. So all these are character clowns. And this is me up here when I'm wearing my coat, but it's far too hot today to wear my coat. And this is a famous clown from France, Annie Fratellini. And her dad and her uncles are in that picture up there. See, Cirque Fratellini. They had their own circus. That is from the 1920s. And this is more recent. This is probably from the 1970s. And this was my dean of clown college. He was like the principal when I went to the Ringling Circus Clown College in 1985. And that guy there with the tie-dyed shirt that was making fun of me, yeah, we went to clown college together. Yeah, he's a circus clown too. He's the executive director of this entire museum. I'm just on the board of directors. He's the executive director. Hi there. We're starting a tour. I'll catch you up. This is a white-faced clown. White-faced clowns are very smart, and they throw pies at me. I'm an Auguste Clown. An Auguste Clown. Say Auguste. Auguste. Auguste, that means clumsy and silly. That's the kind of clown I am. I get hit with pies.
Some words I can't say.
Some words you can't say.
I can't say pretzel.
You can't say pretzel?
Pretzel.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I couldn't say aspirin. I couldn't say it. Nope. And now I can hardly say onomatopoeia. That's a hard word to say, too. And this is a character clown. This is like a tramp clown. And so I'm going to show everybody some certain things about the museum. If anybody has any questions, let
I
me
actually
know,
do have
okay?
one now.
Yes.
Were you doing the baseball act in the parade?
No, that was Mr. Bill. Mr.
like
Bill,
Mr. Bill.
his makeup is a little bit similar to mine, but not too close. If you put us next to each other, we don't look alike. Like he doesn't have the bald part in his wig. His hair is a little bit different color. He has purple and blue right here in his makeup. His mouth is a little bit different shape than mine. He does not have blue in his makeup here. But he has a red nose like me. He's about, well, he's got a bigger tummy than me. But he has a much smaller nose. But if you separate us, because, right, see, now
Oh,
look,
there we go.
yeah, put us together.
Yeah, I
You
was
can
I was
see the
watching it
differences now?
from the L Ringling porch.
Right,
I was a
but
little distant
But
from
from a
it.
distance, you see the red around the mouth.
Yeah.
You see the red nose. We're about the same size. You see the red hair. People get us confused a lot. A lot.
That's what-
People think-
Oh yeah, you've got the same
Okay.
weight and
Yeah, and I was actually on Ringling the same time as Mr. Bill. But he was on the Ringling blue unit, and I was on the Ringling red unit. Because we had crisscrossing
you both
tours.
have blue eyes too.
See?
See?
Yeah.
You guys are brothers.
I'll tell you,
Brothers
one time
under the makeup.
I went to the optometrist, and the receptionist said, "Would you like your eyes checked?" And I said, "No, I'll keep them blue the way they've always been." That was a terrible joke. Don't tell terrible jokes.
That was a new script. This guy's adding jokes now. See
I
this?
know the script.
All right,
All right, boss, I can bang on
All
script.
right, I'm gonna go sit
That's
down
what
again.
clowns do.
All right.
You can throw a couple more in there.
I'll throw some in there.
One more joke like that, and
All right, that's it. You'll take away my celery. I like peanut butter on my celery. Drop the vernacular.
that's a knife.
Center. So here we have, this is a trunk, some props, and a nice photograph of Jimmy Happy the Clown Williams. Happy was a clown
I
at the
remember
Circus World
him.
Museum for like 3 decades. Really, really nice fellow. You can see at the Circus World Museum some more of his wardrobe, his great big VW Beetle all covered with fur, things like that. When he retired, he gave us all this so kindly for the, oh, look, there's Mr. Bill again.
How about
Right there,
that?
he worked with Happy in Happy's final few years at the Circus World.
I think the first time I ever went to Circus Road was in 1980 when I was about 14. And yes, Happy was the clown then. I saw him
Yeah,
then.
Happy would have been there. I don't know what year Happy start.
Oh, now you got a question.
Yeah.
Oh, he started in 1963.
63. I was a year up. I was going to say 64. Very good.
63, 64. We'll let you go.
I'll slide on that one. And here we have clown car. Now everybody thinks, oh, the clowns, there's a trap door in the clown car and they sneak up from underneath the bottom. That isn't how it works. This photo up here shows exactly how it works. The clowns all crunch into the car. Right there. That's a picture from, I don't know, the 30s or 40s, I'm going to guess. Here's another one showing exactly how it works. Car and Driver magazine even did the physics of it. You can figure out the physics of how to get people into a car. I can tell you how you do it. You take all the seats out and you squish.
No.
Yeah, that's how you have to do it. Look at number 21. 21 clowns in there. Number 21 is the newest clown in the whole show.
Well,
Because
you can just take a couple cars.
you could take a couple of cars? No, clowns want to save money. We take one car. That's right. And the newest guy always comes in here in the back because if you're number 21, so you're the first one in, boom, 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 all the clowns go in. So you're getting squished and you're getting more squished and farther and farther and farther and you're all the way in the back. Then they let the clowns out, but they have to start up here where the door is. So all the clowns go out and you're the last one out. So you're the first one in getting squished and you're the last one out and you're getting squished for all that time. Guess which number I was? 21. I was the 18-year-old kid, brand new clown to the circus. So I'm all the way in the back. Now everybody thinks number 1 is the best spot because you're the last one in and you're the first one out. But there is a spot that's better than that. And that spot was done by this man right there. Dwayne Thorpe. We called him Uncle Soapy. He was 38 years in the circus. He was the senior most clown. He was the last of the clowns that worked under the big top before they moved into arenas. He was the last of the clowns that didn't go to the Ringling Clown College. He had worked with all the great clowns. He'd been there 38 years, and his job was outside the car, opening and closing the door for all of us to get out. He was the doorman, and that was his job. Then we have this, Mr. Tad Toski. He was a circus clown for more than 50 years. Besides being a clown, he also was a professional football player. He played for the Green Bay Packers 9 years before they even became the Packers. He worked for auto thrill shows, Joey Chitwood and things like that. And his most famous clown act was called the Duke, the Pinhead. Down here you could see it was like a Halloween mask. He would look through the holes in the necktie right there, and then he would have this long neck. And with this little tiny head, but of course he would make the suit oversized and flare out to exaggerate how small the head was. He also had one called the Duchess, which was a female version that another clown would wear. And they would wear that for a walk around, just walking around during a production number. And you'd see this great big tall thing and this little tiny face looking at you. And it was actually on a swivel. He could actually turn it. Things like that. Any questions? All right, let's go this way. I'll tell you some more things. Now this is one of the little miniature clown cars. This one was owned by a man named Bobo Burnett. Everybody say Bobo.
Bobo.
Bobo Burnett, not to be confused with Toto. That's me, I'm Toto.
Hey, Mom.
Bobo and Toto. Bobo Burnett, this is Bobo Burnett. He used to be a white-faced clown when he started, then he became a tramp clown. We have some old footage of Bobo. He worked from the 1920s to the 1960s in shrine circuses. And he also toured all over the world. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show 7 times doing his little clown car. Now, Bobo Burnett is an inductee into the International Clown Hall of Fame. His daughter and grandchildren gave us his car and some of his wardrobe. And I've actually been in that car. During the induction ceremony, I got in the car. I'm only 5'7". I weigh 145 pounds. Bobo Burnett was 6'4", weighed 240 pounds. Got in that little car. Nobody knows how he did it. When he would get into the car, he'd hold up a screen. Somebody would hold a screen so you could not see it. Even other circus performers never saw him get in that car. We don't know how he did it. Bobo Burnett got into the car not just by himself. He would get in. We got some footage that's coming up right now. 4 dogs, a skunk, a suitcase, and sometimes he would come out playing not a trombone,
Trumpet.
a trumpet. And look, there he comes out with a suitcase. He came out with 2 dogs already. How did he do it? We have no idea. 240 pounds, 6'4", in that little tiny car. And the car still runs today. I can even open the door and show you the inside. It's not a trap door. There's nothing like that. And it still runs today. Runs on electricity.
There's not a seat in there.
How did that great big man get in there?
Well, because there's not a seat, him can put in... I know, you could
I'm 6'3". Would you want me to try?
You
we
might
can't
not-
go in it now because
No.
it's still got electricity to it. We might crash into the wall. But it's like, I don't know, because I fit in there barely, and I had to squish. I don't know how he did it because I'm only 5'7".
Maybe he was
into the car too.
maybe he was double jointed.
You know what? And that's, that could be it. Because other clowns, like I'm going to talk about Lou Jacobs, and he was a contortionist before he became a clown.
Uh-huh.
Now Lou's car was even smaller than this. And I watched Lou, and Lou wasn't trying to hide it. He knew that he was a contortionist, and I watched him get in when he was like 85 years old. He could still fit into this little tiny car. Sidlow was working backstage manager for the show, and Chuck's like, go out there. Well, they're booing me. It's like, they're not booing you, Lou. You got 500 people chanting your name out there. And so he comes out, and he's just like, burn, and he goes back into the shtick, and then he drops his pants. Only thing was, he wasn't wearing clown boxers. He was wearing regular old boxer shorts. But he was so into the moment that he just drops his pants, and the place just erupted.
Oh, that's so great. That's wonderful.
So yeah, it's just
I saw Ringling a couple of times. Yeah, he used to wear he was hilarious. One of the gangs that he do throughout the show, he'd be like a UPS man, and he'd have a block of ice, and it'd melt during the show when he'd take it around. And he always had a badge on his chest that said Motto Gale 26.
Yeah.
Which I think was a tribute to Johnny North and Henry North. But he was funny. I mean, he as you know, he was the clown's clown. And I always thought he was, he just had something about him. Of course, he'd been a writer.
Right.
A Gene Roddy actor.
Yep.
Got hurt. They auctioned off the boxing things that when he and Freddie Freeman did the boxing again in Circus World now. Which I think that's quite that's a historic thing because they really was the original of that act. Do people know how to do like the firehouse gag now? Are these skills, are these these things being lost?
It's a lot of
Oh, you
it.
mean today?
Unfortunately, not being.
He was in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I know that
He was the
Trish Manuel, who was a Ringling Blue Unit clown for just a couple of years, has her moose camp, as she calls it, in the Maple Lake, Minnesota era. And she used to bring in Frosty Little and Chuck Sidlow and things like that to teach a circus skills class. They had her birthday party thing and the gospel clown thing, and you could go in and take circus. And they did firehouse gag, and they did cow kisses and these old gags. But not as many people were doing it. And then Frosty died, and Chuck's doing his stuff, and it's not getting.
That concerns me. I hate to see. The clown, the firehouse is my favorite. I almost asked him, you had something about shrine circuses on there. If you said ask the questions, then I was going to say, is it true that shrine clowns ruin clowning in America? There's some truth to that. Yeah, that cut out all the winter jobs for guys. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And they figured they could save 50 cents.
Yeah, I've done not a huge amount of shrine dates, but
You did some.
Greg DeSanto and I worked for Jimmy Hammond. Now Greg and Karen had worked for Jimmy's father doing dates.
George Jr.
Yeah, and then I've worked a few dates like Boston, Massachusetts, and Loves Park, Illinois, and I did Canton, Ohio for
Hammond. This is before guys because George Hubler had that for a while.
we did it for Hammond, and this was, I think the last one we did was 2 or 3 years ago for him. But Greg would call me up and says, "All right." Jimmy called, like, "All right, what are we doing? Washerwoman and soap gag." That was always what we do washerwoman first half, and soap gag second half, and so
Washerwoman's a good one. That always goes over. I saw that done on Soleil, and they had real water in the thing. And I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was really the only thing I ever saw that I thought was funny that the clown did on Soleil. And I thought that was very clever. Washerwoman's a real old time one. I think Otto and Freddie Freeman did that one too. Boxing is the one.
That's the one. Yeah, everybody
remembers. Yeah. And I didn't know that Bobo Burnett was so big.
Yeah, 6'4", 240 pounds.
I mean, God, he must have been limber.
Yeah.
Lou had done all that contortion, so
Right.
you could see what he could switch, get himself.
But he never let anybody see him get in. I watched Lou get in the car a million times, but Bobo never let anybody watch. when he would get in. He'd have two assistants hold up a screen. And if he wasn't in a private dressing area or anything like, they'd hold up.
I think it'd be fascinating just to see how he did it because he was so. That's pretty amazing. He was 6'4". I didn't know. I didn't realize he was such a big guy. You know, I got that book. His daughter wrote.
Yeah.
Have you read it? I haven't.
Yeah, I read it.
Good?
Yeah. It's it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And because his daughter and his grandson and granddaughter came in for the induction, and she had just written the book, and so she did a book signing here. I think mine was book number 3.
Oh, cool.
And but I've kept in touch with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I've actually talked to his daughter, Bonnie, quite often on the phone even. She works in the social services.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very nice of them to give that here. That's great.
Yeah, and we've had it for
that.
years. Of course, it's like it's one of those things. Anytime if you want it back or something like
Sure.
that, and let us. But no, they said nope. This is where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's nice because Lou's is at the Ringling Museum.
Right.
Or at least one of them. So that's nice. That's really terrific that he.
But yeah, that night I got in it, and I'm 5'7", 145 pounds,
Yeah,
and
you
I
had trouble.
barely
I can't imagine.
got into
Well,
that.
he must have been all scrunched up.
Yeah.
They should have put his feet up so they showed in the windshield.
Yeah, something. It's like, in the video you can kind of see him in it, and then you can see a dog moving back and forth, but the video that we have, and I think it's from one of the times he was on Ed Sullivan, it's 4 dogs, the skunk, and a suitcase that he brings out. But he used to also come out and play Peg My Heart on the, I don't know if it was a cornet or a clarinet, not a clarinet, I mean a trumpet or something. But here he's got a dog doing tricks and everything. But
I didn't realize that was his stick was to have that.
yeah.
Could you breathe very well when you were when all the other guys were in the clown car?
No, you can't breathe in
That's what I
there.
was
You
gonna
got
say,
people
I
all
bet you can't.
piled on you.
Oh, God,
And
I
some
think you're
guy ate
claustrophobic.
cabbage the night before. You're a mess.
Yeah.
But we actually had in 1986, 85 and 86. Of course, I joined in 86. On the Unicorn tour, we had the clown car was a Model A Ford. It was owned by my boss clown, Jim Vogelzang, and it was all 1920s, 1930s movie stars. So Frankie Terriel, this all comes out as Shirley Temple. We had a guy come out as King Kong. We had Laurel and Hardy come out, and Buster Keaton come out. All these and then old-fashioned crank movie camera. I was the guy, so I wasn't in the clown car for that. But I'm cranking the camera, filming everything. Dwayne Thorpe, Uncle Sophie's opened up the door. And then the last one out was Dana Nelson, who was 6'5" to begin with, on 2-foot stilts as Frankenstein. So here he would come out.
Oh, I
And
saw
then,
that.
and scare all the other clowns out of the ring.
great.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But the clown car that I was in was actually at Circus World. And the car at Circus World, before I even went to clown college,
Yeah, there's holes
18-year-old kid right out of high school, knowing I'm going to clown college in September, I got 3 months. So I graduated at 2 in the afternoon. 5 o'clock that night, I moved from Connecticut to Florida and started at Circus World the next morning. They took a chance just on this punk kid. Now, of course, we were from 1920s to 1960s, so we've got different. Matter of fact, this is when he first started. He started out as a whiteface, and his wife actually worked with him as what was it, Bobo and like Jojo. Jojo was the wife's name, but she sometimes got more laughs than he did, and it caused friction in their marriage, and they ended up divorcing. And so his daughter didn't know her father. She was an infant when the parents divorced. Met her father really for the first time when she was 4 years old. And she actually has written a book about it. It's called Bobo's Daughter. And there was a picture of her meeting her father, kissing him as a little 4-year-old girl, kissing him on his clown nose that appeared in the newspaper. And that's actually the cover of the book itself.
I gotta look for that book.
Cool.
Yep, it's called Bobo's Daughter. Red Skelton was inducted into the very first Clown Hall of Fame class in 1989. Everything you see here was given to us directly by Red Skelton himself, including we have a letter that Red sent to all the other inductees, congratulating them. So as famous as Red Skelton was, he actually sent letters to Lou Jacobs, the family of Emmett Kelly, and the family of Otto Griebling when they were all inducted together. Red Skelton was very, very kind to us Ringling Clowns. If we got anywhere near a theater that he was playing in, he would invite everybody out for dinner. He would have his personal photographer take photos with everybody, and he would autograph photos with everybody. I know of that happening 2 times on the Ringling Blue unit during the years that I was on Ringling. Sadly, I was on the Ringling Red unit, and we were not on the same tour as Red Skelton. We were never close enough. So I never did meet Red Skelton, but so I'm very jealous because we actually have one of the pictures from, I believe, 1989 or 1990 with some of the Ringling Blue unit clowns. Red was an incredible performer, but he was also an incredible artist. We have some of his lithographs, a couple of originals, and he liked to paint some of his friends in clown makeup. So we have one up here. People might recognize who that is. Bobo Burnett, exactly. Yes, indeed, yeah. I never got to meet him. I was so jealous of the other Ringling clowns, and because he a couple of times, and he would what the original one I heard is they found out Red Skelton was playing in a theater in the same town that they were playing in the arena, and they took a pair of David Kaiser's old clown shoes, and everybody just signed it to Red Skelton. We love you, you know, whatever. The Ringling Brothers Circus Clowns, and everybody autographed it and sent it to the theater. And then they get a note back. Mr. Red Skelton, request your attendance at such and such. We will be sending transportation to pick you up after your Sunday night show. Blah, blah, blah. Took him to a nice restaurant and told stories and had his own personal photographer that traveled with him. Took an individual photo with everybody. Made sure everybody's names were written down. And, you know, in order so they could match it all up. And then 8x10 autographed photos to each clown arrived for all the clowns.
That's so
And that
nice.
happened a couple of times. And then he would take a group shot. I mean, this is when he actually visited the show itself, because he would take, you know, out of makeup. But this is actually, you know, when he visited the show itself, just some of the clowns. And based on, I know this guy joined Ringling in 1988, but that was not the look he graduated. He changed his makeup. So this has to be like 89-ish era. And that's my buddy Chris Alston. This guy and I grew up together. We clowned together in high school. We both ended up becoming Ringling clowns. But we didn't work together on Ringling. He worked on the blue unit when I worked on the red unit. So I never worked with him on Ringling. And that was not his original look either. So then we have our oldest wardrobe and clown shoes. It's right here from Poodle's Hannaford. I'm pretty sure they're up to about 8 or 9 generations of Hannaford circus now. And so when we were given all the boxes and boxes and boxes of materials from the Clown Hall of Fame that was in storage, the folks that were in charge of the storage unit said, "Yeah, we've got these old ratty costumes. You know, we're just gonna throw them away or something." Throw them away! They didn't realize what they had. They were just storage unit people. They had no idea the history, how many generations. Poodle's Hannaford, I mean, not only worked in circus, but he worked in films. So we have some of his original wardrobe. We have a painting that hung in his home. So I always thought that these were our oldest shoes, but I found out that those shoes are even older. These shoes come from the 1930s, autographed by the great Lou Jacobs, one of 4 master clowns as deemed by Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. In order to become a master clown for Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, you had to have written, I can't even remember how many gags you had to have written for the show, how many years you had had to teach at the Ringling Clown College. All these qualifications, and 4 clowns actually met those qualifications. Lou Jacobs, Frosty Little, Bobby Kay, and Otto Griebling. So Lou Jacobs came over to the U.S., I believe, at sometime in the early 1920s, from Germany as a contortionist, I believe. And as the story goes, now, some of the stories I tell, they may be true, they may not be true. I don't know for sure. But the story that I got was that Lou wanted to stay with the Ringling Brothers Circus, and they offered him a position as a trapeze flyer or as a clown, and he chose clown. Now, whether that story is true or not, I don't know. I like it. And so Lou spent, I believe, 66 years with the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and he taught at my clown college. He was in his 80s when he taught at my clown college class, and he could still do a chair fall. And there was one day that Lou came in, and he never lost his accent. He goes, "Oh, boys, I'm not feeling very good today. I'm gonna have to sit down and teach class today. Cause somebody get me a chair. I'm not feeling very good." And, he's in his 80s. Oh, everybody, somebody get a chair for Lou. Let him sit down. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. And he misses the chair and falls flat on the floor. Like, oh no, Lou Jacobs fell down. Lou Jacobs fell down. Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. Okay. 3 years later, I'm teaching at Clown College. I'm a stilt walking instructor now. So now I've gone from student to road clown. I'm teaching at Clown College, was our executive director, Greg DeSanto. He goes, "Watch this, boys, watch this. Oh, I'm not feeling very good today. I'm going to have to sit down. I don't like this. Oh, no. Get me a chair." And he falls down. "Oh, no, Lou Jacobs fell down." And Greg and I are over on the side busting a gut because we know it was a complete setup, just like he had set us up 3 years earlier. Lou was such an incredible clown, absolute master of his craft, but so humble, so giving, so loving. I just loved every moment that I spent with the man. Now, Ringling came out with these dolls that were sold on the concessions, Lou Jacobs and then Emmett Kelly. And Emmett wasn't very happy that he wasn't getting a piece of the action off this. That's my likeness. So, and again, this is the story as I've heard it. So he decided, well, I want to get that's my look. I want to get some money off of my look, So he trademarked his look. He was an incredible clown, but an even better businessman because he licensed his look to Coca-Cola. His name, Weary Willie. He had games, he had toys, he had dolls. But my favorite thing is that he had a toy company make a ventriloquist dummy. How incredible is that? A ventriloquist dummy for a clown that doesn't speak. All you gotta do is pull the string and you're an excellent ventriloquist with Emmett Kelly. He did films and TV. He was on the Carol Burnett show. He was just incredible clown. Next to Emmett, we have Barry Lubin, who was a graduate of the Ringling Clown College, and he did work on Ringling, but most people know him from his time as Grandma with the Big Apple Circus. He spent a couple of decades with the Big Apple Circus. Then we have our clown shoe collection. A lot of folks don't know how clown shoes are made, so we actually have a clown shoe cut in half. They're all custom made, so there's a shoe within the shoe, so your foot is measured around the side, across the arch, everything, so they're very, very comfortable. Most comfortable shoes I own. And then they fill in around that with horsehair, because horsehair is water repellent, or it also will not rot and things like that if it gets wet. A lot of clown shoes makers are also using dense foam and things like that. But my favorite shoes are filled with horsehair. Yes, they're much heavier, but I've had these shoes since 1990, and they've worked all over the world with me. And a little bit of mink oil, a little bit of polish, and they'll last for decades. So a couple of my favorite pairs of shoes here are an original pair of Ronald Mcdonald shoes, donated by Ronald himself. We have these shoes here. We have one red and one blue because of the red and the blue units of Ringling Brothers Barn and Bailey Circus. A young fellow named Joey Klein, who is a clown himself, started a clown shoe business. And when Ringling was getting ready to fold up, he made one red shoe and one blue shoe and took them to each unit and had all of the clowns that were remaining on the show sign the shoes. So those are the names of the clowns, the very last clowns that worked for Ringling Brothers Barn and Bailey before Ringling closed its doors after 146 years. But my favorite shoes of all of these shoes aren't even really clown shoes technically. They're these. These were used in the 1960s. And these were given to a clown by the name of Gene Lewis by a relatively well-known performer who also was known for doing drag roles. He thought Gene Lewis was absolutely hilarious and gave him a pair of his own drag shoes. We actually have a picture of Gene Lewis around the corner here that we just got wearing these shoes. You may have heard of the performer. It was a fella relatively well-known, I guess, named Milton Berle. Milton Berle gave these to Gene Lewis. Gene Lewis, I never have seen anything but video of Gene Lewis. Tall, thin. So he did a lot of drag roles in a slinky, tight fitting dress to show how skinny he was. And he'd wear the little ping pong balls right here. And he would do a lot of the drag roles. But from Milton Berle, from what I understand, again, as the stories go, Gene Lewis was Lou Jacobs' favorite clown. That's how good Gene Lewis was. Just absolutely. These are my favorite shoes in our collection, but they came from Milton Berle himself. Then one of our newer exhibits is about Otto Griebling. Not the name that Emmett Kelly has, because everybody knows Emmett Kelly's name, but not as many people know Otto Griebling's name. And Otto, in my opinion, was a much funnier clown. I really enjoyed. I've only seen video. Again, he passed in 1972, so I've never met him. But I know his stepdaughter, and his stepdaughter actually gave us everything in this collection right here. Matter of fact, it happened about 2 years ago now. We were having a Ringling Clown reunion in Orlando, Florida, and Penny had come to the reunion and called Greg DeSanto and I up to her hotel room, and she said, I got a couple of boxes. You guys might want it. And we opened it up, and it was Snow on Christmas and Never Never Land and All Day Suckers, because it was photos. It was pie pans. He was known for juggling pie pans. He could entertain 15,000 people with 4 pie pans and just juggle pie pans. And he'd get one side of the audience competing against the other and could master the entire arena. But we also have some of his personal photos. We had his wallet with circus IDs in it. And so we have a little, what do you call that, a shadow box. We had Christmas cards and birthday cards signed by some of the greatest circus names in history. So that is one of our relatively new exhibits.
He wore a tattered, darkly colored costume, which you would think in the middle of spangles and spotlights wouldn't draw any attention at all. But somehow, Otto radiated his presence, and people were compelled to look at him.
The first time I ever laid eyes on Otto Griebling in the flesh, I just started laughing. But I suppose everybody felt like they were good friends with Otto, you know. That's the way he was.
He was a master, and sometimes we talk about Otto in hushed tones and with great reverence. But that's maybe because there just aren't many people like Otto.
Heard that he had a stroke, and we were going to go cheer him up. We were all set to go and cheer Otto Griebling up. Well, we went to the hospital. It wasn't a big fancy hospital, as I remember, and I remembered it occurred to me that as I walked into the hospital, I wonder if this hospital knows that I didn't think that the hospital knew that they had one of the greatest clowns that's ever lived.
When Otto died, his wife Annie gave me this, which doesn't seem like much. It's an old pie tin. But Otto did a routine with a pie tin, a simple prop that would bring the house down. And I like to hold it every now and then and just touch it, because I feel him in here, and I feel him come right into my heart. And so to me, he's still very much alive and very much a part of this thing we do called clowning.
clown cars. Oh, this is really clever. Clever, right?
If you have any questions, would like to know anything, feel free to ask. If you would like any information on anything in particular, I can make up really good stories that are maybe partially true. Are you one of the people that thought we had a trap door in our clown car and we would just sneak in?
Well, it just always was amazing to me. This
Then across this wall, I'll just lightly touch on everybody, not everybody across this wall, but this is all inductees into the Clown Hall of Fame. We have Michael Polikoff and his father, Michael Polikoff. Matter of fact, son actually was inducted before Nikolai, actually, before his father was. They both went by the name Coco. I actually worked with one of Michael's sons who went by Coco Jr., and then there was a Coconut, and there was a Cocatina. So they're both inductees. We have the first female clown college graduate to go to tour with Ringling, Peggy Williams. In the back, in front of her is Leon McBride, also known as Buttons. Here we have Felix Adler, who is known as the King of Clowns. He's from Clinton, Iowa, which is about 40 minutes up the road from where I live in Davenport, Iowa. He was known for having big, shall we say, derriere, put beach balls into his backside. He trained pigs, and as the story goes, he would take a large pig to a farmer and say, "I will trade you this big pig for a little pig." And the farmers thought he was nuts. You've spent all this time fattening up this pig. Why are you going to... the farmers thought he was crazy. Give me a great big pig, so much more valuable than a little piglet. But he couldn't use a big pig. His axe needed piglets. He would dress up like the big bad wolf and have 3 little piglets chase him around. Then we have Frosty Little, Glenn Frosty Little. A lot of people think Frosty was a clown name, but in the Ringling Circus we didn't use clown names. We used our own names. Frosty was actually a nickname his grandfather had given him when he was a boy. He loved the cold weather, and his grandfather said, "Oh, you like it when it's frosty," and he became Frosty Little. One of the 4 Ringling master clowns. We have his original Clown College graduation diploma. And before it was even called Clown College, it was called the College of Clowns at that time. We have some of his wardrobe. And we also have a Ron Lee sculpture. Ron Lee was a famous artist who did a lot of clown sculptures. We have a Ron Lee sculpture on top of his trunk with a bottle of Seabreeze. And people say, "Well, you got the bottle of Seabreeze." A lot of people think, "Oh, you accidentally left something out here." Seabreeze is us Ringling clowns doing a little tribute, inside joke kind of a thing to Frosty. Because in the circus, if you get a little cut or something, it could get infected quite easily with all the animal excrement and things like that. You could get an infection. So if somebody got a cut or a scrape, Frosty would want to put Seabreeze on it. And it became quite the production. Now, I worked on the red unit, so I didn't work with Frosty. He was over on the blue unit when I was on the red unit. But the stories I heard is, "Oh, all right, boys, it's time to get out the Seabreeze. Old Johnny Waste got a little scrape on his elbow." And they'd hold the guy down or whatever they needed to do and pour that Seabreeze in, and it became quite the production number, bigger than what you see out on the floor, actually. So that's our little inside inside joke to Frosty Little. Then behind Frosty, we've got Billy Vaughn. I've never met Billy Vaughn, but I understand he's a pretty big guy, but he could do a back handspring. I've seen footage of him running through ring 2, because we never called it center ring. It was always ring 1, ring 2, and ring 3. And he'd run through ring 2, do a round off into a back handspring, and when he would land, his pants would drop. And that's what I know about Billy Vaughn. Next to Billy Vaughn, we have another master clown, Bobby Kay. Bobby Kay, again, I never met him. He passed a couple of years before I went off to Ringling. But he taught makeup at the Ringling Clown College, and he taught magic. And I understand he was so kind, so gentle, so loving. Next to Bobby Kay, we have Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony was known for wearing a dog collar. He had a beloved dog that had passed away, so he started wearing his collar. A little bell on it became one of his trademarks, as did the little tongue sticking out of his makeup. I mentioned out in the front his wood carvings, but he was better known for his foam carvings. Prior to foam, things like this, paper mache. Over here with Paul Jung, paper mache was used for big heads and props and things like that. A lot of times piano wire and silk would be used to make large props. Mark Anthony was known for carving out of foam. He actually taught for 3 days at my clown college class, and he was showing us how to carve this and this. And we said, well, you know, Mark, you're making a bunny rabbit. How do you know what to do? And he said, you just cut away the parts that don't look like a bunny rabbit. Oh, makes perfect sense. He actually, I did a walk around, which is little sight gags while they're setting up the trapeze and that. Little sight gags you would see the clowns doing. Just a few seconds of each little sight gag. And I dressed as Pinocchio, and I had a big, long wooden nose with a woodpecker puppet. And Mark helped me carve the puppet. And I still have it. It's all disintegrating. You know, foam rubber doesn't last forever. It's all disintegrating, but I still keep it just because Mark Anthony himself helped me make it. And there's a story that it was somebody's birthday. I want to say it was Ron Severini, who was a Ringling Clown, later became a dean of Clown College. I think it was Ron Severini's birthday. And he came into Clown Alley, the clown dressing room, and sitting next to his trunk was a virtually life-size baby elephant from Mark Anthony. Oh, and Mark didn't ride on the train. He had a trailer. So Ron goes, I'm going to go thank Mark for this wonderful birthday present. Goes out to Mark's trailer, knocks on the door. Mark opens up the trailer. Comes into the trailer. Mark, thank you so much for this wonderful gift. And he notices that his couch cushions are all missing. Oh, he had carved his own couch cushions to make this gift for Ron Severini. And that's the kind of, again, that's the story. And knowing just the little bit of time that I did know Mark before he passed, I did keep in touch with him by mail. He actually ended up living on the land owned by Wayne and Marty Scott. Wayne was a former Ringling Clown, and Wayne Scott is who made these clown shoes. That was what Wayne Scott was most known for, was making some of the best clown shoes in the world. And in Mark's retirement, he lived on land owned by Wayne and Marty Scott. Behind Mark, we have the Sherman brothers. Only one of them was actually a Sherman. They weren't actually brothers. And I don't know much about the Sherman brothers. I need to get more information on the Sherman brothers. Underneath there is Prince Paul. Prince Paul was a dwarf clown on the Ringling Show for about 40 years, I understand. I never met Prince. He retired after the 1980 season, but I've seen a lot of video footage, and he seemed to be so eloquent and so articulate in his speech. Very well-educated sounding man. Behind Prince Paul, we have Cecily Conklin. Now, Cecily Conklin is not an inductee into the Clown Hall of Fame. She had a very, very short career. But she is here because she was an incredibly beautiful clown and an incredibly beautiful person. She also did one of the best back falls that you could ever see. She was a beautiful white-faced clown, but she would get hit in the face with a pie during a routine, a bakery routine, and she would throw her feet up and literally throw her feet up and come crashing down on her shoulders. Incredible fall clown. But sadly, we lost her at the age of 28 when the Ringling circus train derailed back in 1994. 2 people were killed, an elephant trainer and Cecily. So Cecily is here with us always. So we also have not only some of her wardrobe, we have a face cast in a little container down there, and that face cast was actually used to mold clown noses. We would use plasticine clay over molds of our own faces and mold the clown nose, then make another mold of that. Now you have the negative, and we would fill it with liquid latex just for a few seconds and dump it out and get that thin layer of latex in there, and we would mold our own clown noses. So that's what that is. We have one of her walk-arounds there, slippers. She would open up the box, put on the banana peel slippers, take a step, and do one of those big back falls, using her strength of being able to do the back fall. Then over this way, we have a tribute to Clown College and Ringling Clown. So all those panels back there are all either Clown College photos, photos from the road, or publicity photos of so many Ringling clowns. Here we have Tom Parrish's trunk. You have Tom Parrish's wardrobe over there. We have Tom Parrish's trunk. Right here, this would go into our dressing room, into Clown Alley. Each clown would keep their agent suit, which is our own personal costuming wardrobe. We call that our agent suit. So we would keep our own personal effects. And you'd also keep a bowl and a spoon if you have something to eat, or writing utensils, back when people actually used to have to write because we didn't have computers and things like that. So you would keep all your personal effects in there. A lot of folks, like Tom, decorated his trunk. The little tiny trunk is his daughter Amelia's first clown trunk. Tommy and Tammy Parrish, their daughter was born on the Ringling Circus. You can see one of her infant pictures wearing a little clown nose. And that, so when, I think Amelia was about 2 when she wore that. And she would play in the clown band, little tiny cymbals, and march with Mom and Dad in the circus. Amelia is now about 25, I'm guessing, and she tours all over the U.S. doing musical theater. I saw her at the Timberlake Theater in Illinois 2-3 years ago in a production of Peter Pan. She played Smee, and she stole the show. She's also played the lead in Hairspray and many other shows, and last I knew she was working in New York, but I'm not sure if she's still there. And then over here we have Happy Kellums. I don't know much about Happy Kellums. We do actually have somebody here that actually trained with Happy Kellums that when he comes in, if you have any questions about Happy, feel free to ask him. So does anybody have any questions? That is about my oh, wait, I almost forgot. It's so new, I almost forgot. Oh my word, this literally came in yesterday. Jackie Leclair was born onto the Ringling show. His father, Jack Leclair, was a Ringling clown, worked in vaudeville with Felix Adler. Jackie Leclair had a very lengthy career. He also was a hairdresser for many years. And in his later years, he became an ambassador of mirth for Circus Sarasota in Sarasota, Florida. We just lost Jackie a couple of 3 months ago. He's about 92 years old. And so there was a big auction of his trunks and his wigs and his makeup, and a series of folks bid on this and bid on this and bid on this. And Greg DeSanto won the auction for his wigs, and Terry Ricketts won the auction for this trunk. And we already had some of his wardrobe on display, but we've got even more coming. It's coming in from different parts of the country because different people are donating. I won this in the auction. We wanted to go to the Clown Hall of Fame, and I won this in the auction. This is an expanding area because up until just a couple of days ago, all we had from Jackie was this, and he was behind Frosty, little over there. But now we've gotten the trunk, we've gotten photos, we're scanning.
You must have been moving things very recently then.
Yes. Yeah, this came in yesterday. This was here yesterday. So that is brand new. And someone else we just lost a few days ago, Keith Crary. Keith Crary worked in the television makeup industry for many, many years. He was Lisa Gibbons' personal makeup assistant. He won several Emmy Awards for his makeup on television. But he was a Clown College graduate, a Ringling clown, and he also spent many years putting on Ernest Borgnine's makeup for the great circus parade in Milwaukee. So he would apply Ernest Borgnine's makeup. But he just recently, very recently, passed away, and I've spoken to his sister, and his sister is going to donate more wardrobe. So we're going to have an even bigger Keith Crary display in the coming months. So that concludes my end of things. You can take all the photos you want, stay as long as you want. If you have any questions, let me know. I've told you the stories as I've heard them, and somebody else may have heard something a slight bit different. But there's at least a little bit of truth in every story. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hello, little one. Hi there. And so enjoy, and thank you all for coming. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you've heard a different story, let me know. If you've heard it a different way, let me know. Or if you know some other information about somebody, or every once in a while we have somebody come in and say, oh, you know what, we had a fellow yesterday that came in, and he was an executive for the Circus World theme park in Florida. And he happened to be in the area and had never been in here, and he came in and we chatted for about 2 hours yesterday because we knew a lot of the same people. And he said, oh yeah, this person did this when they worked at Circus World. It's like, I never knew that person even worked at Circus World, and things like that. So enjoy the day. Thank you all. Let me know if you want to know anything else. Thank you.
Some fresh sign.
I recognize your face, yes.
I didn't recognize you. Greg told me.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm sorry I screwed up on those magazines
Oh,
with you. Does that thing go all right, the camp? Yeah.